Hello, my name is Justin Golby, and our urban strategy is the City of Austin's Neighborhood Partnering Program, a process that takes community-initiated ideas for city property from concept to construction in 12 to 18 months. Small, everyday spaces define the character of our communities, but far too many of these spaces are nothing to look at. From auto-oriented streets, to vacant lots, to buildings that look like we lost the Cold War. We can do better. The problem is there's just so many of these spaces, and they require such a detailed level solution that government doesn't have the resources to do it, nor do they feel comfortable from letting our citizens do it from a liability standpoint. And so nothing gets done. This makes our governments look tone deaf and our citizens feeling powerless. We need a new model. After all, we are in the open source era, a time in which encyclopedias aren't written by a few people. We create platforms. We invite everyone to participate, and we have mechanisms on the back end to check that quality. Why not build city projects the same way? And so our open source platform is the City of Austin's Neighborhood Partnering Program. The idea is simple. Let neighborhoods do what they do best, which is identify local needs, dream of the solutions, and then rally their neighborhood behind those. And then let's leverage that with what government does best, which is namely engineer, permit, and construct. And when we each do what we do best, we end up building projects that no one's ever seen before. Now, to make this program accessible to all neighborhoods, especially our low-income ones, we built a broad coalition of partnerships, and at the same time, built a simple, straightforward user experience that takes all the technical details and puts it behind the scenes. In a sense, we're kind of like the iPhone of city government. Now, this program is no government handout. All our projects require a 30% cost share from the neighborhoods. Now, this could be any form of combination of cash, professional services, materials, like this was an Eagle Scout project, or volunteer hours, which we value at over $24 an hour. And now we're 5 years into the program, we've approved over 36 projects and leveraged $1.7 million in city funding. And then what we're doing is we're transforming those city streets, retrofitting them with sidewalks and bicycle lanes, pedestrian islands, rain gardens, and street trees. We're taking those vacant lots and we're turning them into community gathering spaces. Like this was the first community garden on city floodplain. And battle by battle, we're winning this Cold War. But the greatest transformation of all is not with our public spaces, but with government itself. By city departments coming together to scope out neighborhood projects, and then all of us going around the table to design these projects. And then we all come together, the city bringing its heavy equipment, the neighborhoods bringing their volunteers. We're constructing these projects together. And then at the end of the day, we're throwing a party and celebrating together. This is fundamentally transforming how our citizens view their local government, and at the same time, this is how government is supposed to operate. And it can all over the country, but we need your help. This program is easily replicable. Now, in order for this program to work, we need to spread the word. Every community deserves to be a community of character. Every city deserves to be a neighborhood partnering city. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Andrew?
Yep, so it seems you presented a very interesting process, seems very grassroots based. Have you seen anything in terms of, is it citywide? Are there certain parts of Austin that seem to take advantage of this process more than others? And is there kind of a bigger picture forming?
Yeah, so one of our measures is geographic equity. And one of the things, as a cost match program, there's an inevitable thought that only richer neighborhoods can access this program. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we brought on 2 AmeriCorps Vistas to specifically outreach to low-income neighborhoods. And then also have built mechanisms like partnerships with the Landscape Architects Society, the American Institute of Architects, and they are donating free professional services to low-income neighborhoods so that we can address these resource gaps so this program can be accessible to all.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about other potential partners. Do you have any sister city agreements or potential for that? And how about partnerships with academia?
Yeah, so we haven't developed sister cities. We've gotten a lot of phone calls from Charlotte and a lot of other cities, but we are working with academia quite a bit. We've been working with a civil engineering group at University of Texas. We're working with an English class in Austin Community College, and communication class that helps community organizing. So we're in a lot of classrooms because our projects are really small enough that students can really sink their teeth into it in a semester time frame. So we're doing those kind of things.
I was surprised to hear you refer to a handout. You say, oh, this is not a handout, we require a match. But I presume that this money started as, the 70% is taxpayer money, right?
So yeah, so we're leveraging
Okay, so-
funding, right.
Okay, so it didn't come out of your pocket or the mayor's pocket. I mean, it's citizens' money. So I'm kind of curious what your thought about the 30% match is, since it starts out as their money to begin with.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So cities only have a little bit of money. I used to work in the budget office, and so there's a giant priority list of projects. And when that money runs out, we tend to tell our citizens, no, sorry. And this is a way for us to not say no. Mm-hmm. We can actually say, well, we can work with your project, even though it's not a city priority. And so that's our way of doing that.
Do you end up, just a follow-on question, do you
Sure.
end up with still having to set priorities? I mean, do you have more demand than you have supply?
So far, we've been able to fund pretty much every project that's come to us. This last round, we got inundated. We got over $1 million of requests from neighborhoods. So we're going to have to sift through that now, start that competitive process. But to date, we've been able to pretty much fund everything that's come through us.
Yeah, I think, and that's kind of a lead into the question that I've been thinking about, which I think touches upon all of these, which is, what is your criteria? What has it been? I think we heard about, but what is it going forward as you're sort of learning? You're looking at the geographic distribution, and I think this is piling on a little bit, but, I'm thinking about that capacity question and that communities that can typically come up with, whether it's the sweat equity or the financial match, they're typically not the areas that need investment the most. And so how do you balance that?
Sure. So one of the things, we have 5 criteria that we look at. Is the quality of life being enhanced? Is our community, a lot of people participating? Then the cost match component, then geographic equity, and then are we incorporating city values like sustainability or our neighborhood plans that the neighborhoods have come up with? And we really are targeting our outreach and then bringing all these community partners to really bridge that equity gap. And so far, when we look at median family income and where our projects are distributed, 1/3 are in upper income neighborhoods, 1/3 are in the middle, and 1/3 are in lower income neighborhoods. So we're spreading that around Austin, but our target is really lower income neighborhoods.
That's great. And just as an aside, in Chicago, when I worked for the city for a long time, when we were making investments, we also worked on this 30% model, that 30-30-30, that it could be 30% a sister agency, 30% another level of government, and 30% coming from the community in some way. So
Right.
there is some things, that number seems to matter to cities somehow, so.
The
thank
magic
you.
number 3. And
Yes.
thank you.
I appreciate it.